The science on creatine is clear. The misconceptions aren't. So let's call out 18 misconceptions so you don't buy into any of them. Creatine causes water retention. Creatine actually increases the volume of water inside of the cell. It promotes water movement into the cell. So therefore, it's not causing water retention, it's optimizing water movement of where it is needed at inside of the cell, not outside of the cell. Creatine is an anabolic steroid. Creatine does increase muscle growth or can support muscle growth and can also increase strength. But creatine is from the protein family. It's 3 amino acids that are combined together. It's not a cholesterol-based molecule, which is a steroid. So no, it's not an anabolic steroid. Creatine can damage the kidneys of healthy individuals. Creatine doesn't damage healthy individuals' kidneys. This is based off of the conversion of creatine to creatinine and the assumption that creatinine is solely a marker of kidney function, which it is not. It also gives insight into protein intake and muscle tissue turnover or muscle tissue activity. So clearly, there's clear evidence showing that creatine is not a factor when it comes to kidney health and is certainly not a detriment to the kidneys. Creatine causes hair loss and baldness. Quite simply, there's no such data that shows that creatine has an association to hair loss or baldness. This is probably a carryover from the misconception that it's an anabolic steroid. Creatine causes dehydration or muscle cramping. This would be refuted by the flow of water into the cell with the use of creatine. In fact, creatine is actually going to help optimize hydration, not contribute to dehydration. And we also need the movement of fluids into the cell to optimize some of the intracellular electrolytes like potassium. These can also help offset cramping. So no, creatine is not associated with dehydration or muscle cramping. Creatine increases urine output. You're not going to increase urine output if you're optimizing the movement of fluid into the cell. You can see this is a repeating theme, and it really refutes quite a few of these misconceptions around creatine. Point here, creatine does not increase urine output. Creatine supplementation increases fat mass. Creatine supplementation can help optimize muscle tissue development and muscle tissue function. The more muscle tissue you have, the more optimal your metabolic rate is, meaning that you're just going to burn more calories even at rest. And that's going to help decrease fat mass, not increase fat mass. So no, creatine is not increasing fat mass. I don't want to take creatine because I have to take too much. I have to go through this loading phase. Actually, it's been shown that 3 to 5 grams of creatine are effective and that the loading phase is not necessary to get the results that are easily achieved with the utilization of creatine. Forms like creatine hydrochloride and alkalinized creatine are more effective than creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate is actually the most well-studied form of creatine. In fact, most of the benefits that we associate to creatine are based off of studies that were using creatine monohydrate. So good old tried and true creatine monohydrate, it's not going to let you down. Creatine is most beneficial for young athletes. In fact, creatine can be beneficial for both genders, male and female, across the entire lifespan. This is not necessarily a supplement that is only beneficial for young individuals or for athletes. We all require energy production, and therefore we can benefit across our entire lifespan. Children and adolescents should never take creatine supplementation. It's dangerous. In fact, creatine supplementation is generally regarded as safe and even potentially beneficial in both children and adolescents. They have a high energy requirement as well, and they need to develop muscle tissue and muscle maintenance just as we as adults do. So yes, it can be beneficial for children and adolescents. I don't need creatine if I'm already doing resistance training. You're already optimizing the most outcome. In fact, when you combine creatine and resistance training, that's when you're really going to see the greatest benefits. The creatine helps optimize the biological activity, the biochemistry within the muscle cell, but you need the stimulus of resistance training to help kick it all in motion. So the combination is where you're going to see the best benefit. If I can't perform exercise, what benefit is taking creatine? Well, creatine alone can still provide some muscle benefits and even some performance benefits. Remember that this is not all about muscle activity, so you still would want to take creatine and harness the benefits that it has as well for energy production. Creatine is best used right before a workout or during a workout. Creatine timing is not that dependent. It's not critical at all. What matters far more than the timing of your creatine use is how consistent you are. Its consistency over timing is where the real impact is going to be seen with creatine. Never take creatine with protein as it won't get absorbed. Actually, the co-ingestion of creatine with proteins and or carbohydrates can improve uptake. That's where you're going to see the maximum benefit. You're not going to see this inhibition of the uptake of creatine simply because you decided to take it with a meal. Remember, consistency is what's important, so just consistently get it in. Creatine increases cancer risk. Creatine, to quite the opposite, has actually been shown to have no association to cancer risk and may even be used as a recovery tool after treatment or during treatment. This can be aligned with offsetting muscle wasting and weight loss. Creatine can be an ally to prevent that. And this is also probably another one of those carryovers from the anabolic steroid misconception. There is no increase in the growth or increased stimulation of cancerous cells by creatine. So you can scratch that one too. Creatine is only beneficial to muscle. Creatine can help optimize cognition and memory. It's really a powerful brain support tool. And this is even more so if you're an individual who's sleep deprived and you just don't feel rested, don't feel recovered, and your energy levels feel drained even when you're starting out your day. Creatine should be one of the things that you could look for, not as a replacement to sleep, but just to help you overcome the sleep deprivation and optimize your brain and memory function. Creatine is for athletes. In fact, emerging research on creatine is suggesting that it may reduce the severity or even improve the recovery time from someone who's had a traumatic brain injury. This is truly a neurological support tool that can not only help with optimization, but recovery when it's needed. If this video challenged what you've been told about creatine, well, that was intentional. And for the full breakdown on how creatine fits when you're already consuming more protein in your diet, well, go ahead and watch my previous video, Eating More Protein, Do You Still Need Creatine?